YouTube family, I don't know how badly you wanted to see some Kingdom Hearts 2.5 remix gameplay on my channel, but that little bit that you just saw of me walking into that room is pretty much all you're going to see. The rest is pretty much just a cutscene, more specifically the cutscene in which you transform into Valor form for the very first time. And I thought that this cutscene, along with just this video in general, would be good considering what I want to talk about today, which is two things. One, dry forms and what we can expect to have as far as dry forms in Kingdom Hearts 3, what I would like to have, what I would like to return, and what I would like to see as far as some new things. And then the Keyblade transformations. And I have some fears about both of these, but I'm also kind of optimistic about each one as well. So with that being said, let me go ahead and jump into this real quick. I'm going to start with the most important thing to me, which is the dry form. It kind of worries me a little bit, and this is one of my fears, that these Keyblade transformations that they've talked about are going to try to take the place of the dry forms, and I really don't like that at all. I felt like dry forms were one of the things that made Kingdom Hearts 2 actually, it's probably the #1 thing that made Kingdom Hearts 2 so versatile, and for me, Kingdom Hearts 2 has the best gameplay out of any other Kingdom Hearts. I still have Birth by Sleep to play, but I really don't think that that's going to change. Kingdom Hearts 2 had great gameplay, and it's mainly because of those dry forms. When you're sitting there and you're fighting the same kind of Heartless over and over and over again, kind of waiting to get to the different boss battles, even though a lot of the Heartless are different and you got to use different strategies against them, using the same attacks over and over again gets boring, and I feel like dry forms completely change that, and that's why they are so important to me. I want pretty much every dry form to return. Unless they're gonna try to bring back that dark blob dry form. I mean, it's okay, it's fun to use, I like the combos, but unless they're gonna make that something that you can transform into on your own, I don't want it. I don't want anything that's just gonna randomly happen, because there's too much strategy involved when you're fighting bosses for them to just throw a random wrench in your strategy like that. So I liked it, but I want it to be a choice of my own. So I still want to see Valor, Wisdom, Master, and Final Form. I definitely want to see Limit Form again, and I want to see a little bit more done with it. And then, like I said, if they want to actually make that an optional dry form, I want to see the black blob thing as well. Also, I would like to see, in a perfect world, we would have 3 more brand new dry forms. I would like to see something kind of like the limit that you use against Roxas in the Roxas battle in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix. I would kind of like to see that as a regular dry form. But as I was saying, in a perfect world, I would like to have 3 more dry forms. But I don't think that's gonna happen. But if they put 2 more dry forms in, I would be happy with that. I would be satisfied with that. So I mean, that is really what I expect. Well, not expect, but that is what I kind of hope for as far as the dry forms, because they're my favorite part of the game, and I really feel like they created an environment where you can play in a variety of ways and have different strategies and just really get a chance to play more versatile, and that makes for an overall fun game and a better playing experience. You know, that reason alone, making versatile ways to attack and defend, and strengths and weaknesses, that is what made Jak 3 so one of the best gameplay games of all time as well for me, as far as RPGs, because you can do so much with it. And I feel like if they replace dry forms with the Keyblade transformation, that's really going to really fuck up the game, and I'm really praying and hoping that that does not happen, because I would really be upset if it did. So let's talk about these Keyblade transformations. The way I think they're gonna do it, and this is what makes sense, but you know, Square Enix doesn't really like to make sense, and that's what my friend. Usually when I do topics like this, I spend almost 20 to 30 minutes doing the same debates and stuff with one of my really close friends, Obi Venom, and then I make a topic about it so I can talk about it with you guys. And we were kind of discussing this, and I was explaining to them how I think they're gonna do the Keyblade transformations, and I think the Keyblade transformations, I think they're gonna pretty much do it like strength, the way they do strength, magic, and defense. You know, each one of those can level up and get a little bit stronger. Each one of them kind of has their own level. And I think they're going to do the same thing with Keyblades. I think your dry forms are going to have their own levels. They're like they had in Kingdom Hearts 2. And then I think they're also going to have the Keyblade to have its own levels. And each time you get to a certain level, I suppose your Keyblade is going to get stronger. And then ultimately you're going to learn some new transformations as your Keyblade gets stronger. Or maybe they'll just do it the same way they did the dry forms, where, you know, someone teaches you a new Keyblade transformation as you meet new people and go throughout the world. I would be more, I don't know which one I'd like better. I would probably like better to level up your Keyblade, but do it in a way to where you're not gonna learn the strongest. You're not gonna be able to grind your way to the highest Keyblade transformation in the first world. Do it in a way where it's actually going to still take time, or maybe there's some automatic glass ceilings that you can't go over until you've gotten to a certain point in the game. Maybe something like that. But that's kind of how I think they're going to do the Keyblade transformations. But honestly, these are all just speculations. I have no idea, which is I say that mainly because it gets so annoying seeing people just talk about Kingdom Hearts and just saying shit and just throwing rumors out there, because it really just confuses us as fans. But another thing about the Keyblade, I mean, if I had to be completely honest about the Keyblade transformations, I really don't like them. When I first started getting into this game, long ago, when I was, oh my gosh, I don't even want to try to do the math in my head right now, to be honest. But I mean, I was young. But what I really liked about it was you're not using a sword, or you're not using a gun, and you're not using a bow and arrow. You're not using a traditional weapon. You're using a giant ass random key, and it unlocks pretty much anything. And to me, that's what made this game, you know, different. That's what made this game special to me. Now, with the Keyblade transformations, the Keyblade just transforming into regular weapons that have been used in pretty much every video game, every movie, every you know, art of, you know, combat, it really kind of takes away from what I feel like Kingdom Hearts really is. So when I saw those transformations, I was like, yeah, you know what, they're cool, but at the same time, it's like you're kind of taking away the feel of it. You're taking away, you know, what really makes it what it is, taking away the heart of Kingdom Hearts, which is that Keyblade. So the whole transformation thing, it really doesn't feel right to me. But at the same time, if they can do it right, if they can minimize it and just not let it just completely change everything that we've done for the past, I don't know, several games, then sure, you know what, bring the transformations in. I got to see a little glimpse of that while I was fighting Terra. He did all types of shit with his Keyblade. But as I was saying, those two things I feel like are going to be a really, really big aspect of the game, and they're going to determine how well I think the actual gameplay of Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be. As I was saying, I want those dry forms to return. I want every dry form that we've already had to return. And then as far as these Keyblade transformations, I heard there are only a few, but I would like to see them I would like to see them do just enough with it. And I'm a picky guy, so I mean, there would be a certain amount would be not enough, and then too many would actually kind of piss me off. But you know what? I mean, it is what it is. If they're gonna do it, I just want it to be done right. As far as transformations, those guns look cool. I would like to have a little bow and arrow transformation, kind of like what Terra was using against me last night while I was doing some boss battles. So I mean, it is what it is. We'll just have to see what they plan on throwing together. I mean, we're assuming that Kingdom Hearts 3 is ever going to come out while we're making these you know, these suggestions and saying what we want in the game. The next thing that I'm going to talk about in my next video, guys, is the party system, how they're going to continue to do the party system. And I'm also going to talk about in that same video whether they're going to actually do separate storyline gameplays, kind of how they did Birth by Sleep, or if we're going to be sticking with Sora. So keep up with that. Subscribe if you're new, so you can check out that video next time, and I will see y'all later. Appreciate the views.